Seahawks Today, powered by Chat Sports, coming up in just a few moments with a complete breakdown of the Seahawks 2022 schedule. But before we do, we want to hear from you guys. Tell us what you think the Seahawks record will be this season in the comments below. How many wins? How many losses? Will there be a tie? Let me know how you think the Seahawks will do in 2022. It's our pinned comment. Put your comment there, how you think this season is going to go for the Seahawks. Tyler Jones here with you. Appreciate you joining us. The Seahawks schedule is out. The Seahawks now know their opponents for the 2022 campaign. Let's go ahead and tell you all about it. It all gets started with a bang week one as Russell Wilson and the Denver Broncos take on the Seahawks on Monday Night Football, as Russ will not be waiting very long to make his return to Seattle. It is also the first Monday Night Football game for Joe Buck and Troy Aikman on ESPN as well. So a very high-profile matchup to get the season started for the Seahawks in what is maybe the most anticipating game of the entire season right off the jump. Week two, it's a divisional matchup on the road at the San Francisco 49ers, followed by a week three matchup back at home against the Atlanta Falcons. And then week four, the Seahawks travel to Detroit to take on Jared Goff and the Lions. Then on week five, the Seahawks will take on the New Orleans Saints on the road, followed by a home matchup week six against the division rival Arizona Cardinals. Week seven, the Seahawks go to a familiar building, SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, but to take on the Chargers in that matchup. Then week eight, the Seahawks will come back home to take on the New York Football Giants. Then week nine, a road trip to Arizona to take on the Arizona Cardinals. Week 10, the Seahawks head across the pond as they will face Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. An early kickoff at 6:30 a.m. Pacific time in Munich, Germany. And after that long road trip, they will take a bye week and follow that up with a Week 12 matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders. Then, Week 13, the Seahawks make their second trip of the year to SoFi Stadium to take on the defending Super Bowl champion Los Angeles Rams. Week 14 is a matchup at home against the Carolina Panthers. And then Week 15, another primetime game, just one of two primetime games for the Seahawks in 2022 as they take on the San Francisco 49ers exclusively on Amazon's Thursday Night Football. Then, on Week 16, it is a trip to Kansas City to take on Patrick Mahomes in the Kansas City Chiefs. Week 17, they will host the New York Jets, and then they will wrap up the regular season on Week 18 with a home matchup against the Los Angeles Rams, as everybody in the NFL will be taking on divisional opponents. More on the schedule in just a moment. Before we do, we want to make sure that you are subscribed to Seahawks Today. We are bringing you daily Seahawks videos, and the more subscribers we have, the more content we can give you. We are on track to get to 27,000 subscribers, but we need your help. We're about 496 subscribers away. So subscribe now, youtube.com/Seahawks TV, and turn those notifications on. We're going to bring you Seahawks coverage that's 100% free. News, rumors, breaking news, draft, free agency coverage. It's all right here. Never miss a moment of Seahawks Today by Chat Sports. So now we go back and look at that schedule, and obviously it jumps off the page that you play Denver week one right out of the gate. And, you know, I think we all had this game circled to begin with, and now the fact that you're not going to wait long, it's going to be an emotional night for folks to see Russell Wilson, without any hesitation, put on that other uniform, to be walking through the visitors' tunnel on to Lumen Field. That is going to be wild, folks. And both teams coming off 7-10 seasons, but I think they feel a lot different about the directions of both of these franchises heading into 2022. A Denver team that's very optimistic that now has their franchise quarterback, and they're looking to make a playoff push. Well, the Seahawks are at this point in time in rebuild mode of trying to figure out who they are. And I got to tell you, when I look at that game, although you may say on paper Denver overmatches Seattle, I bet you that the Seahawks are going to play with a lot of heart and a lot of passion to try to get one on Russ. And not to mention, for Drew Lock, who could be starting that game, as well as Noah Fant, I'm sure those guys want to make a statement as well, taking on their former team who traded them off in that Russell Wilson deal. An exciting night to open up the season, the Seahawks and the Broncos on Monday Night Football. Now, prediction time. Tell me in the comment section. Will it be the Seahawks? Will it be the Broncos? Who wins that Week 1 matchup? Type S for the Seahawks. Type B for the Broncos. Let your voice be heard. You're going to get an ad break. Take advantage of it. While that ad's playing, get your votes in of who you think wins the Week 1 battle between the Seahawks and the Broncos. Now, the rest of the schedule, going through this for the Seahawks here. The Niners is going to be interesting. That will probably be Trey Lance starting for the Niners, and you'll get a good look right away to see how much further he's come along for San Francisco, his second year there. With that team. Week 3 against Atlanta, they're certainly a lot different than what they were a year ago with Matt Ryan gone now. Marcus Mariota likely to start that game. Detroit, I think you can chalk that up as a win. You feel pretty good taking on that lowly Detroit Lions team. And you move to the next part. The Saints, that's a toss-up game. The Cardinals are going to be very good. Then you play the Chargers, who are also going to be a very good team. And then the Giants, that's a toss-up game as well. So not an easy start to the first 8 weeks of the season for the Seattle Seahawks. More of the schedule in just a bit, but before we do, I want to tell you about our friends at BetUS. You can go ahead right now and get your bets in on the 2022 NFL season. Whether you want to bet on the Seahawks or somebody else in the NFL, you have a chance to do so at chatsports.com/bet, and you'll get a 125% deposit bonus when you use the promo code Seahawks125 at checkout. Basically how that works, you got $100, they're going to give you $125 for free. Just go ahead and use that promo code Seahawks125 at checkout with chatsports.com/bet. Here are some odds in the NFC West. A lot of value on the Seahawks. If they can pull this off, this us against the world mentality, then you could make a lot of money on the Seahawks at plus 1,200. Their odds to win the division. The Rams at plus 125, San Francisco plus 185, and Arizona at plus 300 there. The rest of the schedule, the way it shakes out for the Seahawks, you get the second game against Arizona on the road, and then that game in Germany against the Buccaneers. This very well could be the very last time ever that the Seattle Seahawks take on Tom Brady and the Bucs. And so if there was a game to travel to, if money's not an issue of some sorts, that's the one. You get to go to Germany and you get to see Tom Brady? Sign me up. I need my bosses to send me out there. Please. Maybe get the GoFundMe or something going to send me out there. That would be the game I would travel to if I had the choice. Much-needed bye week after Germany. The Raiders, that was a playoff team last year. That should be a good contest week 12. Week 13 on the road against the Rams is certainly going to be tough. Then you take on the Panthers. I think that's a toss-up game you can feel pretty good about. And then the Niners on Thursday Night Football. Obviously, the Niners would have an edge, but the 12th man at home in prime time is going to be tough to deal with for anybody, let alone an arch rival like the Niners. Speaking of the Niners and the Rams in the NFC West, who do you hate most from that division? Is it Arizona? Is it the Rams? Is it the 49ers? Here's your chance to tell us, to spew some hate. We are encouraging it right now. Type C for the Cardinals, type R for the Rams, type 4 for the 49ers, and tell us who you despise the most from the NFC West. So you wrap up the season, not an easy finish to the year. On the road against Kansas City, who has been, I would say, the most consistent team in the National Football League the last few seasons. Arrowhead, a very tough place to play. I wouldn't want to go there week 16. Week 17, you take on the Jets, and then that divisional game against the Rams week 18. And realistically, I think you're hoping for that the Rams are in a position where they're resting their starters. Where if the Seahawks are contending for a playoff spot, I think your best case scenario is to hope that the Rams are in a position where they're not playing their best players, that they don't need them week 18. That would be ideal, but it remains to be seen. Before we go, one more time, comment section. Tell me right now, predict how this season will go for the Seahawks. I'm going to give you my prediction on the next video. Not today, folks. I want to hear from you first. How will this season go for the Seahawks? Here's your chance to weigh in. Give me the win-loss total. Maybe it's a tie that you have thrown in there as well. Whatever it is, tell me in the comment section your 2022 season prediction for your Seattle Seahawks.